Welcome to Beyond Ocean and Maine, MCM's news magazine program. I'm Robert Goitis.
And I'm Cole Ackerman.
Joan just won Marshfield's 2023 Citizen of the Year Award.
Joan discussed with us her time here as a Marshfield resident and what she's brought to the community.
So I am a mom of 5 wonderful children. I worked, when the oldest were little, I worked for State Street in Quincy. And we moved down to Marshfield in 2000, and I stayed home with the kids and was involved in the school PTOs. When the kids got a little older, I started taking some part-time jobs, one working for Kerman Creations, making window treatments with my dear friend Marie Kerman. And when the kids got a little older, I started looking for something more full-time and became the executive assistant to the superintendent, Jeff Granatino, in 2020. So since we moved to Marshfield in 2000, probably pretty shortly thereafter, I started volunteering at Martinson Elementary School, ordering apparel for the PTO, and then later working to get the new community playground built at Martinson. Once the kids were at Furnace Brook, I worked on the Halloween dance, the Club 7 dance, class night, so always very involved in the PTO. When they were older, Lauren was a sophomore at the high school when I proposed the idea of the We Are Marshfield project, which started in 2013, a volunteer day for the senior class. And then around that time, I also started working on Grad Night Live and for the Marshfield Education Foundation. I think I started volunteering because it was a way to be close to my kids when they were in school, so I would often volunteer to chaperone field trips or volunteer in the library. So I think that's how I started volunteering, and then I kept going. I think the biggest challenge is probably finding time to work on the projects that I like to work on and finding volunteers. You will often hear volunteers say it's the same people everywhere they go. So it's the same people working on Grad Night Live, that work on We Are Marshfield, that are picking up bags for a simple gesture. So I think it's finding enough new volunteers to come and make each activity something exciting. And Lara Brait, who's on the school committee and is also on the Chamber of Commerce, she stopped by my office. I just thought she was in to see the superintendent, and she told me that I had been awarded the Citizen of the Year. I was shocked. I never expected that. I knew, well, I didn't know specifically why it was awarded. I assumed it was awarded for We Are Marshfield because that's the most visible of the projects that I work on. And one funny thing was once she told me it was a secret, so I knew about it for probably 2 weeks before I told my family, and then probably a month before it came out in the community. It's very humbling to receive this award, and as I said at the dinner, it's almost a little embarrassing because I do these things because they're fun and I enjoy all the people that I've met, but not for the recognition of it. Besides my kids, so I'm definitely most proud of them, but for the things that I've done in the Marshfield community, I would definitely say the We Are Marshfield project won Heart Many Hands. We have completed 11 years. We started in 2013, but had to take off 2020. And so over 11 years, I think we figured out that there's been about 20,000 hours of community service completed by the senior class and the 100 or so volunteers that help us every year. So the We Are Marshfield project actually came from an idea or a news story on WBZ where Acton Boxborough, it was featured on the newscast about their senior skip day. And the senior skip day was their community service day. And so I got in touch with Acton Boxborough to get some more information. And the woman there was lovely, sent me everything that she used, all of her spreadsheets, all of her lists, everything. And that's what we based our We Are Marshfield project on. Well, I think when we proposed it, it was a big idea, and I was a new parent in the high school, so Mr. Kuther was hesitant, rightly so. And I think I thought if I could do it and we could plan it and we could get it to work, I knew it would go on for at least a little while because my youngest child will graduate in 2026. So I knew that I would do it at least through then. And I am not one to start something and just hand it off. So I really have no intention of stopping running We Are Marshfield even when she graduates. So for the We Are Marshfield project, the feedback is so heartwarming. We have so many students who get to go back to their elementary school and work at their elementary school. They see teachers that they had. Many get to see younger siblings at school when they're working there. I think our most appreciative group that we help are the senior citizens, because they are so happy to have someone at their home to help with raking or mulching, and not only to have them at their home to do that yard work, but to talk to the kids and just to have a new face and someone new to talk to in their environment. That's the best part of We Are Marshfield project, is the next day when people are texting us and sending us, like, the senior citizens will send us handwritten notes about how happy they were, or what a connection that they made with a student, or that a group of students came back the next day to plant flowers in the area that they cleared. My favorite thing about Marshfield is definitely the people. Like, we did not know anyone when we moved here, and we've met the nicest people and made the greatest friends. The kids have made wonderful friends. And through working on We Are Marshfield project and Grad Night Live and the MEF, I've met people that I never would have met if I had just gone along with the kids in their school and met their school friends. So I've met many people whose children are much older or much younger than my children, and our paths would never have crossed without those volunteer projects. I think what I have brought to the community is just a passion for volunteering and trying to get others to volunteer with me. I know that not everyone can do it to the extent I can do it, but some of my volunteers, they come the morning of We Are Marshfield and they help hand out t-shirts and serve breakfast, and then they leave. So it's an hour of volunteering. It's not the extent that I do, but I just wanted people to know that you can help in small ways. It doesn't have to be all in.
Ashes to Honor, an organization that seeks to recover lost and damaged records of military veterans, just started only a few months ago.
The founders of the organization sat down with us to discuss how it got started and how their mission is being fulfilled.
So Ashes to Honor is a nonprofit organization that me and my mother founded within the past couple of months, probably around like the April timeframe, working on recovering lost and damaged military records.
Actually, this organization started because as a child I knew that my dad's records, when he was in the Army Reserve, they had burnt. But my dad's like, well, the records are gone, so there's nothing we can do about it. And I always thought that that was such an injustice. So my son said, you know what, it's 2024, there's got to be something we can do. So he was hell-bent on this mission. So I said, you know what, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go to work with you. And that is what we're doing now. We are trying to facilitate records for people whose records are missing.
My grandfather, his name is John Bagan. He was 93 when he passed away. I was like, I'm gonna take action trying to find his military records, just to make sure that he gets like the military honors. My grandfather served from 1951 to 1960 in the Army Reserve. So like I mentioned, our Army Reserve, very tough recovering records, even though they, lived here in the state of Mass, hard. He served with the 94th Military Police out of Army Base Boston, actually. And even that, couldn't find any sort of records. So I've contacted multiple federal agencies. I've contacted, the war records. I contacted any of the local VSOs, seeing if they could help. Nothing. So it's not because they didn't want to help. It's not because they didn't know where to look. It's because there was nothing coming up in the system. We found out about a fire that happened in 1973 that destroyed 18 million records. So we realized that my grandfather had, also lost his records in the fire. So multiple requests to the National Personnel Records Center, nothing came back. So digging through his office a little bit more, I found a couple more documents. I found an old military ID. I found pictures. I found company photos. I found so many different things, and I was able to get something finally from the NPRC. You get this pretty little form when you get discharged that says you honorably served in the military, and it has the crest and everything else on it. It's just something that you put in a picture frame. Typically you can't use that for anything other than put it on your wall or pass it down to your grandkids or whatever it may be. That was actually, I was able to secure him military honors using that one piece of paper. So that kind of just got us, to work on everything to try to see if we could recover his. And once we did, that's when we were like, hey, we can do it for him, we can do it for anyone else.
Basically, when you are looking for your records and you put in the request, we'll start with the time that you were in? What were the dates? Where were you stationed at that point? Do you remember any other of your battle buddies? Do you have any paperwork? I mean, there are so many ways that we can actually find somebody's records, because there are day slips every day, and commanders will sign off, this many people were here, these are their names and whatever, and that does go into some bigger database. There's a lot of ways to find some really good information.
We have right now a list of about 60 names. Recovering records is kind of tough when we cannot get out to Missouri to get to the record center to actually put hands on them. So right now they're just small victories, right? Mostly just Massachusetts residents that served in the military from, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and so on. To find more personal military history, like we would need to get out there to Missouri to actually find the actual records, to find their footsteps, to see where they went, what they did. But granted, being here in the state of Massachusetts, we can just go up to the Mass Archives, find everything, town or city that they joined from, what year, service dates, award letters, deployments, anything. That's the good thing about being here in the state of Mass, is that we can find anything here, but for anyone outside of the state of Mass or anyone in the Army Reserve, that's also a tough piece too. How we get community outreach and how we inform people. So first off, we use Facebook. We have the website that I try to update as much as possible. We speak to the community. For instance, I just spoke with the veterans group here in Marshfield, the coffee hour. And then we had a car show on July 14th, getting the word out there. That's the biggest thing for us, because the more people that we talk to, the more that we realize that this has affected more people than anyone thinks. Every single day I meet someone, oh, that happened to my uncle. Oh, that happened to my friend's dad. That happened to this person, that person, my next door neighbors. People tend to give up when they get told no, that you can't find anything. But that's why talking to everybody, letting them know that this is what we are doing full time.
We did find some records for people. They didn't necessarily not have military honors at a funeral, but they just wanted to know, what did my grandpa do? And we were able to kind of put the pieces together, and that's wonderful. And people are so excited because, Grandpa didn't talk about it much. And it was the greatest generation that ever lived World War II. And, they just did what they had to do. The ones that made it home, thankfully, they just went to work the next day like nothing even happened, so.
For a lot of families, they have proof. They have an old uniform, they have old pictures, they have, letters home, they have so many different bits and pieces. But if the records were actually destroyed in the fire and they're not from Massachusetts, then it's kind of hard to base everything off of that. We want to definitely spread nationally, right? Because this isn't just affecting the state of Massachusetts. It's affecting every state from Maine, from the East Coast, very, very tip top, all the way to the West Coast. So, it's a much bigger project than we imagined, and as of right now, I feel like we're biting off more than we can chew, because we're getting requests from Illinois, we're getting requests from Minnesota, we're getting a bunch of requests from all over the country, and for us to be in 10 different places at once, not feasible. So we want to make this project national. We want to have at least a rep in each state, if possible, or even regionally, or wherever it may be. I hope the organization brings knowledge to the community, right? Or to the country, honestly. For 18 million records lost, we're not sure about the amount of people. Could be 5 million, could be 10 million, it could be 200,000. What we want to do is try to correct what has been wrong for 51 years. So the knowledge, letting people know that all hope is not lost. And now is the time that we can get this fixed. Those that have passed away, we can get a flag folded over their grave. We'll get their service honored. Two, if someone needs documents for veterans benefits or anything else, we will pass that along. Once we find something, we can pass you off to the DAV, we can pass you off to the VA, to any, veteran service officer, within the state or within the country.
There are a lot of people, much like my dad, who prematurely lost his hearing. He had no records to prove he was ever even in the Army, and the VA would never pay for his hearing aids, and he actually had to buy 3 different sets of hearing aids, and those are about $5,000 a piece. I'm kind of hoping that more people will be able to get their records together, and they will be able to get the VA benefits that they deserve, that they are entitled to.
William Selvitelle hosts a free yoga class at Green Harbor Beach during the summer to raise food for Marshfield's food pantry.
Selvitelle and some of his students sat down with MCM to discuss their efforts.
Well, my wife and I and our boys lived in Marshfield. We live in Marshfield for the past 38 years. I worked for Eversource for 39 years, retired and became a yoga instructor, and I've been doing that since 2016. It's just called the Green Harbor Beach Yoga, and it's all free. Anyone and everyone, all ages, all abilities are welcome to come. All I ask is for food donations, anything that's non-perishable, to bring in here, so I bring them to the local food pantry. So they can bring 1 can, they can bring a dozen items, whatever they can bring, and I go every week, and during that time, most weeks, if we have 4 classes a week, we usually have between 110 pounds or 170 pounds of food that's donated, which helps out the local food pantries, and that's much needed. My wife and I were doing down the beach, and I just said, you know what, I want to just try to do some beach yoga, and I'd like to do it down here. And I had, for the first couple of years, I only had 3 or 4 folks come here every year, and it took a while to get it growing and word of mouth to get people to come down to the beach. So it was just kind of just a try to see if it would work.
Well, 8 years ago, I was just walking down the beach with my husband one morning, and I see this small group of Bill and maybe 3 other people doing yoga on the beach. And I've always loved yoga, so I stopped and said, hey, what are you guys doing? And they said, oh, come join us. And it's just been awesome just to see the growth of this over the last 8 years. It's just such a beautiful community event. Bill is just the most selfless person I have ever met. He is so generous with his time. He does yoga 4 days a week on the beach for free and only asks for donations for the food pantry. So it really is about people helping people, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Well, our class offers anything and everything you want in yoga. So yoga is different for everybody. If you're experienced, then you're going to have the challenges, because we modify it to make it more challenging, and there are times when we can do other things to make it easier for each person that comes to yoga. So yoga is up to the individual, whatever they can do, whatever they feel like they can do. The biggest achievement is getting people together to do yoga, and also to help people that they don't know by bringing food and helping others. That's the main goal of our beach yoga, because again, I don't accept any monetary donations. It's all based on people helping out, and I have no idea what people bring. They just drop it mostly at my car. So whatever's in the car, that's wonderful.
Every day I bring a bag down of groceries. I walk down the beach because I live fairly close. So yeah, everybody brings donations. They put them in Bill's car.
Most years I just take pictures of it so I can send it out to the town hall and everybody that knows that the food is going where it's going. So this is the first year I know how much poundage is going in. Usually it's just, I've got a shopping cart full of food, and that's what it is. Well, the food pantry loves having the food. They're very grateful. Each week I come in, they really need the food. I go to different food pantries, and some food pantries don't have as much as others. So they're always very grateful to anything they get, whether it's 100 pounds of food or 50 pounds or 150 pounds of food. They love having that. And the folks here that come to the yoga, they're always appreciative of just coming together with no expectations, because we make it fun. We don't have it's not an intense class, it's a silly class. We have fun, we laugh, we giggle. We're at the beach where people can come by, and everyone just comes together, and it's a nice feeling.
Once I get here, I think probably the best thing for me is the sense of community, the energy you feel from everybody surrounding you, the peace of being here at a beautiful ocean setting with caring, kind people surrounding you, and getting some exercise in. So that's an added bonus.
What I feel most proud of about doing yoga on the beach is that people can come together from all parts of the state, from out of state. They come here, they hear about the beach, and it's an ability to come together and do a practice with no expectations on probably one of the nicest places to do yoga on this beautiful beach in Green Harbor. This is the best place to do yoga. And again, it's helping other people, and people come together to do this. It's a great accomplishment for so many people to be involved in it. We're here from the beginning of June till usually the first or second week in September, and we do usually one moon yoga at night, and that's a great event. So it's a great time all around for folks to come together.
The most fun, fulfilling part of this class is being able to connect with other like-minded people and to connect to the earth on the beach. What better place to have yoga is to perform it on the beach and have our practice there.
I believe it's brought our community together. It's made people be aware of their friends and neighbors that they wouldn't always see. So people are finding each other because they're walking back with the yoga mats or their towels, and they're making a connection with friends down the street or around the corner.
It's just the whole community vibe, really. It's so relaxing, number one, just to do it on the beach with the sand, the sun, the ocean, the smells, the sounds. Bill is very soothing with his speech. You not only get a physical workout, but just a mental workout as well. You feel so good when the class is done. You just end up having a great day with a smile on your face.
Friendship Home exists to enrich the lives of those with developmental disabilities and their families.
Those who run the home talked about their recent 25th anniversary celebrations, how much the home has changed over the years, and what plans they have for the future.
So Friendship Home is a great location for people with developmental disabilities to come. And what Friendship Home offers is an opportunity for them to do things to realize their fullest potential, while offering respite for them to actually go and get jobs. We have a Bridges to Work program, and what it really allows them to do is to realize their fullest potential. At the same time, it also provides an opportunity for their parents to have a place where they can bring their loved ones, where they know they'll be well cared for in a loving environment, make new friends, and also sort of spread their wings a little bit.
So Friendship Home started 25 years ago by two amazing mothers, Wilma Goodhue and Joan Malaire, both mothers of now adult children with a developmental disability. And they recognized two things early on. One is that they needed help, and they did not want to continue to feel as though they were burdening their family and friends. But they did need help and an opportunity to have some time for themselves and their family, so they came up with the concept of short-term overnight respite. And then they also recognized that their children were really flourishing in opportunities where they felt a sense of belonging and acceptance, and they were developing friendships. Really, what it offered was an opportunity for acceptance and socialization, something in which not many people were, or not many organizations were really facilitating very well on the South Shore. So they took that upon themselves to do, and now 25 years later, we still have that friendship club in existence with friends that participated 25 years ago. So lifelong friendships have really evolved and developed and been maintained over the years.
Friendship Home has changed quite a bit over the years. And so very humble beginnings started with just some, get-togethers where you would actually have folks with developmental disabilities meet each other, introduce the families to each other, which was a great thing. But now it is just so much more in terms of the capabilities of Friendship Home, in terms of the offerings of Friendship Home.
So we'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary for the entire year. It's an ongoing party and celebration that we are really enjoying very much. But recently we did host a celebration for our participants and their families to come together and recognize what they've helped to accomplish over the last 25 years and what they've contributed and what the community has contributed to the success of Friendship Home. There are so many people that are involved in the success here over the years. Too many people to thank, quite honestly, but it is really important to bring people together to acknowledge the work and celebrate all of the achievements over the past 25 years.
At Friendship Home, obviously the challenges at the beginning were different than they are now. At the beginning, it was sort of getting the funding, getting things going to make Friendship Home what it could be. We got over that hurdle. That's always a challenge, so we're always sort of trying to do fundraising. But it's also raising awareness in the communities we serve, raising awareness in the business communities that we'd like to serve with things like the Bridges to Work program. That's always a challenge. And then it's, where can we go from here? We know there's a need. We know the need exceeds just the geographic area that we currently serve today. How do we best do that without diluting what Friendship Home is today?
Looking back over the years, 25 years ago really was a grassroots effort to bring folks together to support the vision that Wilma and Joan had through, really just spreading the word in the community, attending every opportunity every networking opportunity to just make people aware of the idea of Friendship Home and what's going on to support individuals with developmental disabilities and their families. and it has grown now to be this beautiful home where our participants come every day and enjoy one another's company. They're learning, they're growing, they're developing skills and independence, and really having very fulfilling lives.
The feedback we've received is great. To me, my favorite feedback is the feedback we get from our participants themselves. They love it. On my way here today, I was stopped out in the parking lot and asked how things are going, what's going on. They were talking about going to camp, which is one of the things we provide, it's social rec. They absolutely love it. That's the best feedback. To me, that's the most important feedback of all. Then the feedback we get from the parents. The parents both are participative in what goes on here at Friendship Home, obviously, but it's also, I think, they're very appreciative for the support that Friendship Home offers them in terms of providing respite and care for their loved ones. It affords them a little more independence as well. And then there's the feedback from the community. When you're involved in Friendship Home and you're supporting Friendship Home in any way, shape, or form, one of the things you find is you're surrounded by people who are caring. They're obviously very committed. Once you see what Friendship Home is, it's hard not to feel that sense of commitment to Friendship Home and its mission. And so when you talk to other people and you hear their stories about how they became involved, that's important too. Receiving that type of feedback is, it's so rewarding. You realize you're sort of just a small piece in all of this, but just to get it, it's reassuring. It sort of lets you know that you're on the right track. It's great.
So moving forward, Friendship Home will continue to provide the highest level of services to our participants. What we're really looking to do is figure out a way to meet that significant unmet need in the community. So we're taking a look at how we could have more participants attend our program, how to make more folks aware of our overnight respite program, which is a beautiful, amazing opportunity for folks to come in and stay a night or two or for an entire week with us, which allows families to maybe take a trip or maybe go to a wedding on their own, or just really allow our participant to have an opportunity to be more independent and not feel like they're at home with either mom or dad or a caregiver, but really allow them a true sense of independence in the community. I think most of all, I'm really proud of our participants' successes day to day. It's really wonderful to watch our participants grow in their confidence, in their friendships, in their ability to ask and request for things that they want and need. I think that watching people successfully become employed and take great pride in the work that they're doing is really fantastic.
When I look at what I think Friendship Home has brought to the community, the greater community that it serves today, I would say there's a few things. First of all, help and hope to our Friendship Home members in terms of what they're capable of and what they can be. A sense of potential hope for maybe independence in the future. Support for their family, providing an environment for them to feel cared for, to make friends, to learn new skills. But also, I think one of the greatest things Friendship Home does is it raises the awareness and it helps to educate communities and companies and individuals about what people with developmental disabilities are capable of doing and how Friendship Home makes them aware of it and allows them to participate in a greater way in the communities they serve.
This concludes this edition of Beyond Ocean and Maine. Tune in next time. I'm Robert Goitis.
And I'm Cole Ackerman.
Thank you very much for watching.